Hey everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of The Bold Leap. Today I'm super excited to introduce you to a very good friend of mine, Cari Bragg. Cari and I have known each other for, I'm going to say like 30 years. Like you are by far the person that I've known the longest, and I'm so excited to introduce you to my world, to my network, and for them to get to learn a little bit more about you. This show is about women making bold leaps in their careers, in their lives, in their businesses, and I knew immediately when you and I reconnected that I wanted to give you the platform to share your story, because I think we all have a story to share. And when we share it, others see themselves in us. And hopefully it gives them a little more courage to step into their genius and their true authentic self. So welcome, Cari.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. And you know what? I couldn't be more honored to sit here with you. And as you say, we're such old friends. It occurs to me that, 30 plus years, my God, we've come full circle. We've come full circle, my friend. And may I just point out that we started with a nice pair of shoes, you and I. That's where this world started for us. And I still have that illness. I'm still doing that. Make no mistake. And those of you that know me out there, honestly, it's all about the shoes. Make no mistake as I journey through life. Anyway, thank you so much for having me today. And there's just so much that I want to share and talk about with you. But just watching your life's journey and what you do and what you bring to the table has inspired me so much just in this short time that we've reconnected. And I think that's what it's all about. I think the connection is really the secret of life. It's the secret of how we thrive. And if we don't have that, we really are just spiraling out there. We're just kind of missing the cues, right? We need to have this. It begins with our heart. When we have an open heart, the world is our oyster, as they say.
But yes, I could not agree more. Well, Cari, can you just tell us a little bit about you and the work you do in the world?
Well, I you know what? I do a lot of work, and I must say that in the many years that I've been out in the people business, I'll say people business, whether I'm selling footwear or coaching an individual or helping someone find their next career aspiration, it's all about coming from a place of heart. It's all about, again, connecting with people. It's all about aligning ourselves in the right places in life. And I actually take great joy in that. It's really what drives me. It's my passion, bringing people together, whether it's personally or professionally. And I do it personally too. I can't help myself. There's a special kind of glimmer in just watching people come together naturally and where they're meant to. And so I've taken the last, I want to say 25. If I say any more than that, then we have to start counting years and age and all that fun stuff. And we don't want to do that. So, but I have been spending many of my years working with the same clients. And again, very blessed to have 30-year relationships with people. It didn't occur to me till you just reminded me that relationships are what I love to do and what I do best. And I treasure them, 25 years, 35 years of working with the same people and helping people get to their next career and doing it with real grace and real integrity. And my interview skills and my interviewing of people is all about the getting to know. And again, the connectivity of people. I actually forego resumes. I really get into the conversation of human beings. I think that's where all the magic is. I really do. I think when we unveil ourselves, sans paper and all that other nonsense and just get into it like we're doing now, all kinds of great stuff comes up. And make no mistake that I'm not remiss from this myself. When I interview people, I'm dropping my drawers. They're dropping theirs. I'm dropping mine. I know in HR we're not supposed to say that. But for many years, I remember years ago working with a client saying, listen, I'm going to drop my drawers, and he's kind of looking at me, and you'll drop yours, and we're going to find some magic here. And it kind of stuck. I remember my team going, Cari, are we allowed to say that? I said, I don't know, but I just did. But I think it's in that magic kind of moment where we kind of let go of all of our stuff, because we get into this stuff that we have to hold on to. It gets real. It just gets real.
Yeah, yeah. I find it so interesting, really. Like you and I started in our 20s, like in retail management, selling women's fashion, like shoes, for people that don't know that part of my journey because it was so, so long ago. And then I think you started working in recruiting right after that. Did you not? Or
Yes,
did
I
you?
did. I was
Yeah.
recruited out of fashion retail management into recruitment.
So
Yeah.
interesting. And then I remember I was still doing that for a couple of years and you were working recruiting. And then
Yes.
I found myself working in IT. I can't even remember. And then I moved into the world of recruitment, which it's pretty interesting that we both ended up doing the same thing, but on
Mhm.
totally separate paths.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any coincidences in like-minded and people finding their people. You know, we refer to it as finding your tribe, finding your people, finding your connection. But when we open up and we allow ourselves to just align from the heart, I use the word heart a lot. Heart is on my I and my dot on my name. Hearts are all over my house. They're in my life. They're obviously on my person. But heart is about where it all begins for me. And, and hiring is about that. And I think anything we do, and through the hiring process, I came to realize that I had this coaching sense about me. And years ago, I studied in psychology and sociology, and that's my background. Fundamentally, I'm a social worker. That's where I started. Just one of those wanting to save the world kind of people, and then suddenly woke up and went, "Yeah, no, we're not in Kansas anymore, and you're not saving anybody." And so today, all these years later, I find that it's all about saving ourselves and getting back to ourselves, to our own space, to our own person, and then putting ourselves back out there the way we're truly meant to be. So through the process of recruitment, I've come to realize this skill set of coaching and being told many times, you know, why don't you get into coaching? And never knowing, just kind of doing it, but never realizing uh, that that's probably where I belonged. So that's where I am today. That's the business that I'm working at. I'm still recruiting very actively, but I'm, you know, redefining and re-pivoting, as they say, you know, in the business. And it's
Yeah.
been quite a journey. It's been a journey.
Yes, it always is, isn't it? I love that you are, I feel like we all kind of find our way into coaching because that's what we do
Right.
without calling it that, without calling it that. I didn't even know that coaching was a profession
Right.
until, you know, like a really short time ago, frankly, in the grand scheme of things. Like 20
Oh,
years ago, I was coaching, but I didn't call it coaching.
exactly. Exactly. Yep. I mean,
Was there a particular, you talk about like transitioning into coaching, was there I know for me, I had a very pivotal moment when I decided that I wanted to do something different. Did you have one of those like pivotal moments or did it just naturally transpire?
I think it was a little bit of each. I think that, you know, I had a lot of mirror looking back, if you will, saying, Cari, I felt like I was coached in this recruitment process. And I learned so much about myself, and I really came to a different place in my life. So, on the journey to find new employment, people came away with, and you'll see that even on LinkedIn, the recommendations or people talking about the experience that we have together. It really is about that, because anything we do in life, any choices that we're making, all revolve around getting back to self. We can't make a choice until we really understand what the motivation is, what the intention is. And so all the while when I'm recruiting, I ask those questions. I'm very unconventional. No surprise to you, Lisa. I mean, look at this hair. Come on. I mean, but honestly, you can't get anywhere in life unless you get real with you first. You'll just continue to make, you know, the same mistakes and make the same wrong choices until you really get to the heart of the matter. And so for me, it was that mirror looking back. And then the other piece was, you said it yourself, that I just think it was a natural progression. I guess in life, people are naturally coming to me. I'm sure you have the same experience. You have people out there that are coming to you, telling you their life story, and you're thinking, "My God, how did we get here? I'm just trying to order a Starbucks. What's going on here?" You know, and just, life is around us and happening. And I think when you're open to receiving that,
Yeah.
that people are inclined to jump on your wagon. And I love that idea. Um, But all the while, as I said earlier, I'm always dropping my own drawers. Or I love this. I just found this in a little shop in Paris, Ontario this weekend. I went to Paris. Yes, I did. And it says, having a crush on yourself. Are you kidding me? What a great, great idea. And when we go back to that, it gets into how we get into ourselves and who we are and what makes us us. We're going to make better choices and better decisions. And I think I've helped people do that along the way in hiring. And so it just makes sense that we would talk more in depth about that. Same with the clients. Clients are spinning, especially now. I mean, clients are just sitting on fences and not making choices and not pulling triggers and all this crazy madness. And it's like, well, you have a choice. You're one choice away from a very different life. We have to do this. We can either sit and wait, or we can work together and make things happen. So on that side, also coaching C-suite people to get out of their own way. Yes, I have a title. Yes, I have a role. Yes, there's expectations of me, but I wonder if I started having a crush on myself and liking who I was and getting into that I would maybe even lead better.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like there's so many things to unpack there when you say like just getting real with ourselves, right? What does that look like for you? Like, let's just get real with it. Let's just get real, right?
Yeah.
I remember it's so interesting that you talked about when you are open to receiving that people just tell you all their business. Because I remember when I worked corporate, my office was right across from like the head of the whole company for the country I worked in. And she used to say to me, Lisa, there's always someone in your office telling you all of their business. Why do you think that is? Because I wasn't asking, like I didn't say, oh, tell me all your business, but I really was open to receiving it because I knew that in giving them the space and the container to be vulnerable, that's when their true genius could become unleashed. Like they would be free of whatever that is, whatever that burden is, whatever, like Gary Vee says, I quote him all the time, you have to get the poison out. If there's something inside of you that just you're holding, you're suppressing, you don't want anybody to see that you don't have all your shit together. And frankly, who does, right? But we project that we have to be a certain way and show up in a certain way. But then when we get that out, right? Like when we get rid of it, then that's when the magic unfolds, right? That's when we get to really, really, really be ourselves.
Yes.
And so I'm curious, when you say we have to save ourselves, what does that mean to you? Do you have a personal experience where you had to save yourself?
Lisa, I saved myself 20 minutes ago. I said to you before we went live, and I promised you this, my friend, and I'll say it again. And those of you that know me out there, it's the same. I remember when I was married, bless his heart. I mean that with love, always with love. But nevertheless, that I was the girl that would say something and inevitably my husband would go, yeah, that's my wife. She said that and she's getting away with it. It's one of those things where I didn't even know what I was saying and I said it anyway. And today I know exactly what I was saying. And it was a question of growing into myself, Lisa, because back then I didn't know the impact it had. And today I'm very intentional about what I say and how I feel about things. And I'm not for everybody. And then I realized maybe I could be. It's a question of people aren't ready for me. It's not a matter of me not being ready. Do you know what I mean? And I had I had to learn that, Lisa, because then you go into this whole side of, and every day I learn this still to this day, maybe they won't like me if I say that, or what if I did? And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Like I'm here to I'm a truth seeker. I am a truth seeker. I do believe in that. I believe in having things just. And I do believe that we have to be real before we can unveil or unload. As you said earlier, we can't get anywhere unless we unplug that, dam that's holding us back from God knows what. And the magic of that is that so many people are the same. It was something I learned. It's like, we're not that special, Lisa. We're not that unique. You think you got this wonderful, unique story. It's just told differently, but it's still the same story. Right?
Well, I mean, it's so interesting that you said I'm not for everybody, but maybe you are, and maybe they're not ready for you. I mean, that's an interesting perspective. I actually haven't heard that before. Because I always say I'm not for everybody, and that's okay, right? I mean, It really is okay, because the people
It
that we're
is.
meant to serve will like gravitate towards us as
Yeah.
long as we show up with an open heart and own our shit, right? Like just own it, because when we, like Brene Brown says, shame lives in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
When we can come out of the shadows and truly own just kind of like all of us, all of our mistakes, all of our decisions. Like I even look at mistake as just a learning, an opportunity to learn something, right? Like maybe you made a wrong decision in the moment, or that decision didn't work out for you, but you learned something from it. So really it was the right decision. Maybe that's the decision you had to make. Because here's the thing, like, and you said it as well, even not making a decision is making a decision, right? Not
Absolutely.
making a decision is
Yeah.
deciding that you are okay being stuck. You are okay being in this uncomfortable, crappy position you're in, right? And I know that you're not. Like I've been there. I've been there, trust me, when I
Oh,
felt
I have
like,
too.
oh my, I just
Absolutely.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know where to go or what to do. I wish someone would just tell me what to do, right? And the truth is, as you and I both know, no one's coming to save us, right? Like nothing outside of us can save us, right? We have to save ourselves, and not from we have to push through and like do it all ourselves and not ask for support, but we have to make the decision that we're going to be okay showing up as ourselves and in our true, like our true authentic selves, and that's enough.
Yeah, I love that. And all these things are coming to my mind. My God, we could talk for days on this. We really could. It's one of those things where, you were born in this world as pure as possible. I've been researching this a lot about myself, doing the work with myself always, and understanding that I came to this world with this package of goodies. I did. I came to this world with a package of goodies, and then suddenly life started coming in around me and removing all my goodies and doing things with my goodies that they shouldn't be doing, because and knowing that I've allowed them to do that. So now I'm kind of
Yeah.
collecting those goodies, which is like really just going back to my core, going back to who I'm meant to be, my purpose. What am I here to do? What is my life's mission? What is it? And it's about simply that. I mean, when the stakes are really, really high, I heard this very recently with somebody we all know and love. Um, the the right answer will always feel wrong when the stakes are the highest. Like when you have to
Mm,
make some critical decision, and then you look at
yeah.
something like Jake Brown. I love Jake Brown, one of our big coaching mentors out in the universe. God bless you wherever you are, Jake. You are one of my favorites. He always talks about failing forward, and I love that expression. I grew up in a house where failing wasn't an option. I grew up in a house where if you failed, you were going to be you're not any good that day. And I say that again with love. Make no mistake, all these things are with love, but there's still experiences I've had that say you failed, you suck. Well, not really. You failed and you learned, I think. I think that's what we call that now.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's really important. We're so damn hard on it. We don't start off life that way. And I
No.
keep going back to that idea, Lisa, because we don't. It's all the external things that come in and grab our goodies over time and deplete us of the very purpose of what we're doing here. And so then we get to
Mm,
this part of life now that you and I are in, and many of us are in, where we start to go back to that beginning, back to where it started. Um, and you said it yourself. We cannot get validation in anything from the outside world. It has to come within, and it already is there. It's already there, actually. That's the more scary thing that many of us don't realize, that there is nothing out there that we don't already have or are capable of inside ourselves. It's tremendous.
yeah.
Such fear,
Yeah.
right? And fear is, I'm afraid every day. People always laugh at me. They go, "You're afraid, Cari? You're afraid?" Of course I'm afraid, but I have the courage to do it anyway. It's the difference,
Yeah.
right? We hear that all the time.
Yes. Yes. We're not fearless, right? Like I completely agree with you. I do something every single day that scares me. Not
Yeah,
terrifies me like I'm going to die, but is scary, and you have to put yourself out there. And
yeah.
I don't know if you know who Sarah Blakely is. She
I
is the
sure do.
founder.
Yeah, she's our spank
Okay,
girl.
so I'm obsessed with her, and anyway, I'm obsessed with her, and
Love.
we're going to be friends one day. She really changed my view of failing, because, and she tells this story often. Her and her brother every day would have to come, like at dinner with their dad. Their dad would ask them, "What did you fail at today?" And the expectation was that they failed at something, because failure to them meant that you were trying something new. And the
And look,
expectation was every time you try something new, you are going to fail,
mhm,
because how, like, a baby doesn't just come out of the womb and learn to walk, right? And
right.
after a toddler stumbles a few times, we don't say, "Oh, you better give up on that walking thing, you're never going to figure it out."
Yeah.
Right? And so so to them, failing was success. It meant that you tried something new and they got rewarded for that. And so failure isn't something they were ever scared of. Can you imagine if your life, like if that was your experience growing up, that you were rewarded for failing?
Brilliant. It's so brilliant. And now look at her today, because I follow the same. I do know that story. And I mean, what girl, how can you not know Sarah? I mean, she saves our hips every time we get dressed. I mean, look at this girl. She's got these clothes that keep us in good stead. And I mean, she really gets it on so many levels. I mean, I love her story about standing in front of the department store trying to sell these Spanx. And I'm thinking to myself, you are something else. Like nothing would stop her. And even though she was afraid, she did it anyway. And I can't, I mean, you and I both know we do that every day of our lives, right? I'm
Yeah.
doing it today. I said before we went online, you and I'm literally sitting in the midst of chaos in life. Chaos in the sense of, but it doesn't stop me from doing my work. It doesn't stop me from getting dressed. It doesn't stop me from putting my lips on or, engaging the world. I think it's really what this is all about, is living in real time. We talk about living in real time, but I'm living in real time today. Like it's no matter what's going on in life, we still have to do life. And it's this, there's such a fine line between making a choice in this direction or making one in this direction. And so much can change in a, just like that. Right. And it's all there ready
Yeah.
for us. And my, even in my own ways, sometimes I think we get caught up in the control, and sometimes we get caught up in what people are thinking. And as I said to you earlier, if people aren't ready, that's okay. I do agree with you. You can't be for everybody, but at the same time, if you could be, because my desire is coming from my heart, that the more people I can touch, the more people that I can bring along, it's really what I love to do. I love that part of life. I love that part of connecting with humans, and at least getting them to see a different light than what, leaving people better off than when I met them. I love that idea. I've heard that saying once, and I thought, oh, I love that. If I never see someone again, and I leave them better off than when I left them, or when I met them. Pardon me. Is I saying that right? Do you understand what I mean? You meet them and they're at a
I
place,
do.
and by the time you leave
Yep.
them, they're a little bit better off. I love that notion. What a beautiful gift to be able to just do that, and not get caught up. You talk often about your corporate life, and I do mine, when life was big and fabulous, and it lost meaning really fast for me, because I feel like there was something bigger to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
involve status. It didn't involve paychecks. It didn't involve where I was in life. I'm coming to that place now where none of that is meaningful. What's meaningful is, how do you leave people? How do you impact people? What
Yeah.
little mark are you leaving on them? Do you know, many times I go through the hiring process I had a recent one with a president over a year ago, when I was hiring, and we went through so many human beings, lovely interview experience with everybody. But one of the things I came away with was, a lot of people weren't getting hired, but they were compelled to talk about the experience they had on the way. And I just love the idea of that, Lisa, the journey that they went through. Not everybody's going to win, but what did I get out of that experience? What am I going to be left with? Like, if again, it's kind of, I'm saying a lot of different things here, but it's all kind of tied into the same place of what's most important in life, and what are we leaving people with? What's the message, and how are we coaching them to get there?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So interesting that you said that, because I remember when I was thinking I wanted more out of my, and when I say more, I don't mean more things, right?
Yeah.
Not more status, not more money, not that. I just wanted more out of life. And I specifically asked myself that question: what is my legacy? Like the word legacy kept coming
Yeah.
up for me. What is my legacy going to be? And the truth is, I had no idea what the answer to that was at that time. And I had to really, really sit with myself because I had been trained to look for validation, to look for things externally, right? As most of us are trained in that way. And it's really challenging when you decide that you're going to build a business for yourself. You're going to do something for yourself, but with a meaningful mission. So it's not really for you. It starts out for you, right? But
Right.
then you really align yourself to your meaningful mission. And then that's what drives you. And once you connect with that, then you know what your North Star is. And that
Yes.
needs to be aligned with your values and, with what's important to you. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing once we get to that place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the journey to get to that place is not a straight line.
No, and mine has definitely been a rocky road. It's been here, there, and everywhere. And I want to preface by saying that because again, I've had these kind of prickly, spicy conversations with people around, the rocky road of a journey. And again, Lisa, when you talk to people about this, more times than not, people are not comfortable in this world. They're not comfortable in that dialogue. And I draw so much context from my own personal experiences, which is again why I connect with people. But some of the rocky roads have been really rocky, really dark, really ugly. And, I always say to myself, if you could be between what is and what could be, there's some little space in between there that people don't want to go to. And I always like to get into that little nugget, that one little corner of, we've just come out of, I don't know if we're still in it, forgive me, the suicide month for all of people. That whole, it's been huge online lately, all of that. And I read and I have goosebumps just saying this to you. But if I look at that as an example, when we're not talking, because talking is so important, when we're not talking about things and we talk about if I could have, what if I did, why didn't I, all that stuff that we knock ourselves out over, it's the difference between I'm not good and I've ended it. There's some space in between there that nobody likes to talk about. And it's the space of life is a bit ugly right now. I'm a bit ugly right now. These thoughts spiral through my head. And at the same time as spiraling through my head, I recognize I might need some help, but I'm not sure how to ask. And I'm not sure if I should put it out there because then there's the judgment piece I run the risk of. And it goes all that little spiraling internal dialogue we have. It's one example of the arena I like to play in because it's the one no one talks about. As a kid growing up, I grew up in a place where everything looked good. And if it looked good, it must be good. And that was the furthest thing from the truth. Again, my dear, all my parents, they did the best they could. It's not about them. But the reality is that's a way a lot of us are living. And I don't choose to live that way. I'm very conscious of living in, yes, I like nice things, much like yourself. Yes, I want to do these things. Yes, I have nice shoes, all that stuff. But the reality is living in the truth is where you're going to get the most empowerment out of your own life, where you're going to get the most bang for your buck or whatever you want to call it. But if we don't talk about that uncomfortable stuff, we're going to keep doing that dance in life. And we either dance around the obvious or we don't, or something terrible happens, or our fate changes in a negative way. And then it becomes that what if. And I always pose the question, if we could have had a conversation and we could have come to it, as you say, with our open heart, no judgment. We're not here to tell you how to live your life. We're staying in our own lane, so to speak. But if we could just be a space for you, holding a space for people to get where they need to get, that's the kind of work I like to do. It's the kind of work that I stumbled into doing just through my own journey in my recruitment business. I was never one to sugarcoat. I always talked about no elephants in my room. They belong in the jungle. They're not in my room. There's no elephants here. So all cards are on the table and nothing's off topic. We can go there because I feel like the minute we give people the option to do that, they do this. I remember in my business years ago, I never had proper desk chairs where people had to sit nice. You remember the day with the formal interview and you had those the resume, and they'd be looking at you with the glasses, and you're like, oh my God, that was so not me. I mean, I literally had these lounge chairs that were zebra striped. There's a funny thing, truly. True story. And I had glass desks where I could see their shoes and see when they were squabbling with their feet. And I could even maybe comment if they had cute shoes. But suffice to say that I wanted people to get comfortable in their own skin, enough so that we could have a real conversation.
Mm.
And all these great things, and inevitably after it, and I just love these conversations, because when we leave, whether we're sending them forward for a job or not, people would skip out quite happily. And I'd think, what the heck? And they'd say, well, I learned something about myself today. I really enjoyed this conversation. And
Mm.
I think that's where it was born, Lisa, this whole idea of, how did I get to be here in the coaching world, and how do we do hiring? And I hold on to that even today, even though we get stuck in all this AI stuff and a lot of our careers are getting gobbled up by it. I do believe in that, real life, real dialogue, real time conversation where we make things happen in life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, we both talk about authenticity and embracing our true selves and getting into our heart and,
Sure.
stop living externally. Can you maybe share, has there been a time in your life, like a specific time when you embraced your authenticity, or something you really allowed yourself to get vulnerable, and then that helped you move on to another, like that helped you get somewhere you wanted to go and it was unexpected?
Yeah, I would say that, a lot of when I got into the world of volunteering in the addiction world, um, I've been exposed to a lot of that over my life, unfortunately, very unfortunately. And I've seen a lot of death and a lot of loss and a lot of heartache in that world. And I remember when I started to open up about my own experiences, not me personally with addiction, but those around me. And I remember when I started opening up about that, how it changed the mindsets of people around me and the work that I did. It
Mm.
made things a lot more real, and it made it okay. It made it okay in my world and in my job to do what I did. And
Mm.
when I would express, there was a real hardship in my life a few years ago, just before COVID and entering COVID. My brother was killed suddenly, and we are still amidst a disaster in his life in terms of the legal battles of it. But it's been a hell of a journey. And one of the things that stands really tall for me to this day is that we'll never get him back, and he'll never be a part of our this life. But I will tell you, in his passing, it really changed my perspective about what matters in life and what people need to know, because it really took me to a different place about how I did my work. Not that I didn't do it already,
Mm.
but that life is messy. And I say this in my literature, I say it online, I've said it to you earlier. And I think when I really started to announce that out loud, when that happened, um, it changed the course of the kind of people that I started to attract.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it gave others permission,
Yeah.
particularly in the C-suite realm, because
Yeah.
we as a culture, we have this idea that we have to, play big, be all these things. And it's like, you know what? When you leave this desk and you go home, you're just like me. You're just like me.
Yeah.
You have a glass of wine or 10. You kick the dog because you're in a bad mood. You don't think you look good in the outfit you're in. I mean, my favorite book in the whole world, Everybody Poops. Love that book. And it's a really good analogy around we're just human beings to get it done. But it's true.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that to people out loud, and it did change the course of how people worked with me, saw
Mm.
me at work, and how I do work today. It changed everything for me. It used to be that life had to be a secret. It was a secret that
Yeah.
somebody wasn't well. It's a secret that somebody has an addiction. And it wasn't until you announce that you have the flaws too, you have the messy stuff too, that
Yeah.
things changed, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so true though. I think that we've been taught, or we falsely believe that we need to present as perfect, right? And if we present in any way other than perfect, that we won't get the clients, we won't close the deals, we won't attract the like high level, high value, whatever, perfect client or person that's going to support our business, whatever that looks like. And I found that that's just not true. The opposite is true. Like, I remember, I mean, not talking about addiction, but like even just talking about getting fired on LinkedIn, the first time I wrote about that, first of all, I can't even believe I would ever write about such a thing. That
There you
post went viral, and so
go.
many people came to me saying, Lisa, thank you for sharing your story, because that happened to my calendar's never been more booked, like never, with people that really were dream clients, right? Like really were the kinds of people I wanted to attract. And when that happened, this happened a couple of years ago now, when that happened, it really it changed how I showed up online, because it was the first time I really felt like I I just put it all out there, like just sharing that one incident. But people gravitate towards that, right? We're all people, and we all have our own experiences, and we all have our own stories, whether that's, someone in our family is battling addiction, you just got fired and you're the sole income breadwinner per se of your house, and you don't know what you're going to do. I mean, we've all experienced things like that. We talk about, I mean, we haven't really talked about death from suicide, but like everyone's experienced that. Most people have experienced that. And when you talk about it, like it just humanizes you, because we're all human and we all have different reactions to things, and we handle things in different ways. But if we talked about it more, then we would be able to support each other more, and we will be able to just drop the mask and the pretense that we all have to have our proverbial shit together, because the truth is none of us know what we're doing. Some of us just do it anyway.
Love it. I mean, I hear when you were saying that acceptance, people start to accept and they draw
Yeah.
some kind of same. I call it same, different. You and I are same, and different. And in the
Yeah.
fact that we connect on some level of, something in our life blew up. But at the bottom line of all of that, it's simply courage. It's courage to be you, courage to just take that step that you're like literally one step away, and just being and not worrying. I mean, well, Mel Robbins talks all the time, and her book is all about it. Let them, let them, let them. And at the end of the day, it's more than let them. Just let you be, just be, and be who you are. And it's been a hard journey for me. It's always been in me to do that, but I fought it over the years for many reasons. One of which was I didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up you don't be you. I need you to be this. I need you to be this
Mhm.
successful. I need you to look like this. I need you to walk like this. I need you to not say that. Like that was the life I grew up in. And it never worked for me,
Mhm.
Lisa, not from the get-go, right out of the womb, as we talked about 40 minutes ago. I came out of this world as a curious cat. I was curious with the little hands behind my back. My mom used to say I would walk around with my hands behind my back, always asking why and questioning, things that didn't make sense to me somehow. And I still do that. But instead, in this day, I refrain from, what does it need to look like? How does it need to? Even when we started this podcast, I said, Lisa, I have no script. I don't know what we're going to say. And I love that because it just allows us to be us and to
Yeah.
put ourselves out there as the real deal. And that's, I think, what changed my business too. Not that it wasn't there before, but now I announce that. Before I just
Yeah.
was, and now I just want to make a point of saying, yeah, this is me. And yeah, I did just say that. Yes, everyone does poop. Just getting that out there right now, because it's all that uncomfortable stuff that once we push that aside, yes, I got fired from my corporate job. Yes, my brother was hit by a transport truck and died. These are all life things that we all share. They're all different, but they all share the same common thread. It's like either I live in my truth or I hide behind my mask.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
seeking this authenticity, and that you don't need to seek it. It's all right here in front of us. There's nothing out there. It's
Yeah.
here now, right in this moment, I think.
Yeah. And it's just owning whatever we perceive as, judgment. It's us judging ourselves, right?
That's
Because
it.
it's us judging ourselves. And then often we project that onto others because that's
God,
the
I
human
like that. Yes.
experience, right? And we project it onto others. That judgment is something that's unhealed in us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've literally coached myself to this. If I find myself judging someone else, which for the record is only family members, usually, right? Or like people that we love. Like I'm not judging. I don't judge strangers on the internet. I don't care what you're doing, right? But like,
You're so right.
I know a lot of people do, but like
Yes,
for the most part, nobody's thinking about you. You're just not that important. You're just not, right?
exactly.
So all the things that we worry about and obsess about, nobody's looking at us in the same way we're judging ourselves. But when I find myself judging someone, I really will ask myself, because and I hate talking to myself like this, but I still do. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. What's going on with you? That you're like, what's going on with you that's unhealed? Where is this coming from? Right? It's the same as our triggers. You find yourself being triggered. Well, of course, it's easy to just get upset that that person said that thing or did that thing, but that's the thing is never the thing that you're upset about.
Yeah. I love the idea of triggers. You bring up another great point. I read this recently too, and I quite like it because we associate triggers, at least my experience, we associate triggers with a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it sets us off,
Mm,
right? But if we
yeah.
take triggers one step further, this is something I'm learning to do because I'm a huge trigger girl. I get triggered, and it's like I struggle with anger, and anger is something that it's one of
Mm,
my pieces of a character defect, flaw, whatever the heck you want to call it. I don't care. I'm good with it. I get angry, but the beautiful thing about me is I get angry and it's over. I always say I'm a little bit like a boy that way because I'm angry and then it's like, yeah, let's go have a drink. It's like I'm that girl. But in the moment of it, the trigger part for me, I've learned that the trigger, like you said, it means there's something unresolved in me that's bringing me there. So it's
mm,
actually an opportunity. It's the trigger,
yeah.
instead of looking at it negatively, going, hey, I just got triggered. What the heck? All right. So it's kind of like a fail forward thing too. It's like I've been triggered. Okay. It's a 5 alarm here. It's a red flag. Something's up. It's going to turn into a
Yeah.
green flag because I realize something about myself. It's
Yeah.
actually a good thing. We don't talk about triggers as a good thing. We simply allow ourselves to go, that was a trigger. It made me feel shitty. And now I'm shitty and I just was shitty. And you can just go, but instead of going, wow, I just got triggered. And this is an opportunity for
Yeah.
me to learn. It's like a
It is an
failure,
opportunity though.
but we don't
Yeah.
think that.
It is an opportunity to learn. Yeah, no, we don't. I love that. I love that. It is an opportunity to just ask yourself what's really going on and where does it come from, right? So like
Yes.
you say, that when you're triggered you get angry. I'm the opposite. I am like I'm the opposite of you. When I get triggered I shut down because anger, like I grew up in an explosive
Yep.
household, and so when somebody gets angry, my immediate like physical and psychological reaction is to shut down, make myself small, get out of the way of that person who's angered or volatile, and just disengage. And so because I know that about myself, right? Because I know that about myself, I really, when I find myself in a situation where somebody's angry, I'm really working through not taking it on, right? Because just because you're angry with something that I said or did doesn't mean it's right. Like I don't have to take that on as I did something wrong, right? Like my job as I see it is to learn how to sit with someone else being angry and either work through it or resolve kind of how we're going to work through it moving forward, is not to like make it better for you. That's your
Oh,
job.
yeah. Wow. So here's an interesting thing. I love conversations like I love you. I love this conversation. I
I love
do.
you too.
It just gets life moving and it's where we need to be. I just love you for this. Anyway, you said that you go silent. I've got goosebumps. You know why? Because I grew up in a house where it was silent. That was the weapon. How much fun?
Oh,
Like, how much fun is that? So for me, it's like this silence is just killing me. I've got to scream. I've got to make a noise. I've got to. Isn't that interesting?
Ah,
Isn't that something?
that
So it's
is interesting.
side of you, your experience. And so what I've learned to do, I love this. I love, maybe we're having an epiphany, my friend. What I've learned to do, because I'm still being silenced by family members. Okay. And
Mm,
my web, everything's conversation with Carrie, conversation with Heart. Let's have a conversation, right? It's all about
mm,
silence. And what I'm learning about those of us that need to be silent in a bad time or a rough patch or a difficult thing is them trying to recalibrate or kind of get comfortable in their own skin, sitting in the disasters of it, and not
mhm.
necessarily knowing how they want to proceed. So for me, I see things faster sometimes than people I've experienced who do go silent. And I used to think, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you see? And now I think,
Yeah.
well, they can't see. They can't see, Carrie. So what I've learned to do is show some grace and some
Mhm.
compassion for people that need to sit idle until they find
Mhm.
their way. And interesting that would be you in this case. So I love this because it's just respecting how people process
Yeah.
chaos or madness or insanity or uncertainty.
Yeah. And because when I am in the presence of anger, and you get to feel all your emotions, like I've learned this, but I don't feel psychologically safe. It's not that it's taking me longer to process things. I don't feel psychologically safe. So if I don't have psychological safety, guess what? I'm not engaging. I'm not interested in doing anything with you,
Yeah.
right? Until I get to a place where I feel safe. And I can't do that when I'm in a confrontational. And now I'm not talking about contract negotiations and things like that. I could do that all the live long day, right? I'm talking about something like personal, right?
Yeah.
Something personal where I feel like psychologically unsafe. And yeah. So even that language isn't something that was available to me before. I didn't understand it. And the first time I heard it actually was a coach of mine years ago. She talked about her son. So her son had a really traumatic like birth experience. He got stuck in the birth canal. Anyway, came out, was basically told, I'm totally going to butcher this story, but I'm going to just shorten it. Came out like with learning disabilities, told he's never going to be a regular child. He's going to have to be in special ed, all of the things. Well, his mother, my friend, my coach, she just was not accepting this at all. And so she basically dedicated her whole life to finding out what was really going on with her child. It took her forever and forever and forever. When he was in high school, she found out that it was psychological safety. And when he felt safe, like he worked with somebody, another friend of hers, she had access to all these people. He it basically came down to feeling safe. And this child is literally a genius, like literally a genius, graduated from high school, like top of the class, like a regular high school, top of the class. Are you kidding me? Right. And it came down to safety. And so when she shared this story, I was like, it's like a light bulb went off, Carrie. I felt like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, that's exactly how I felt every time I was like growing up at home. Every time, my parent just flew off the handle. I felt unsafe, even if she wasn't angry with me, right? Like I felt unsafe. And because I felt unsafe, my whole body, like, what does your body do as, living this human experience? It wants to protect itself. And a
Exactly.
child makes meaning out of this whole thing. And we tell ourselves all the stories, and then we live with those stories our whole life. And then we wake up like 50 years old, 60 years old, and we have to figure it out.
Yeah. Interesting. And yeah, just listening to that, I'm again getting some more perspective for my own personal use. And for me, the silence made me feel abandoned, not
Mm,
heard, not heard.
mhm.
You just blew me
Mhm,
off. You don't have any respect.
mhm,
I didn't feel safe either. I felt alone,
mm,
isolated.
mm,
Um,
mhm,
so it's interesting. You said you feel all the feels, and you do. So again, isn't this interesting? We never would have known this. And we've just sort of uncovered something really exciting here about here we are, two people. We didn't even know this about each other, but we did grow up in same environments, same, different, but they were chaotic and they weren't right, whatever right is. And that's just a silly, dumb word that there is no such thing. There's no perfect, there's no any of that. But for whatever it is, we had a different experience, which gave us a different outcome, which brought us to a different place. And yet here we are many years later, feeling the same feels, just coming at it from a different perspective. And this is what I love about communication, because there never needs to be one of these if we just open our hearts enough to give each other the opportunity to share each perspective, and both can exist. This is the other thing I love about recruitment and coaching and aligning human beings. We can all coexist and be our own unique, fabulous selves. There's no need to judge and you need to be like me and I need to be like you. No, we don't. We need to be us. We need to be ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then everything else,
Yeah.
we even have a crush on ourselves. Until we have that, we'll never find.
I love it. I love it. It just got so loud outside. My window's open. It just felt like it got so loud. Okay, I want to be respectful of time and bring it back to business a little bit. What are you excited about in your business right now, or in life? Like, what are you excited about right now?
I'm excited about coaching the next human being. I'm excited about where this journey takes me on that coaching business and also the podcasting. I'm really excited about having a live podcast myself. That's the next thing I'm journeying into, conversations with Cari. I mean, I really, really love the idea of doing what we're doing right now. I think it is the most important thing we can do. Give people the opportunity to, look in on Big Brother, like what's going on in the world. And the more we do this, the more we bring community together. And I love the idea of community. I love the idea that we can help each other one conversation at a time. That even if we take one little nugget out of this hour, because nothing's for naught. Time is never wasted, but it's also never coming back to us. It's the most precious commodity we have. So this hour had to have brought something, some level of joy or a nugget of something that we need. And it's never for naught. And so the future for me is coaching people back to themselves like I do with myself. It's so, so important for those of us that are spiraling and spinning and worrying and anxious and all these real feels. I take none of that away from any of us. But to know that if we can just have conversations and walk together, we're never alone. We always have support. And I feel like people need to know that. There are so many people that just don't know that. I just experienced it near my home 2 weeks ago. You probably saw it on the news. A gentleman was going to jump off the bridge, and it was real. I sat in 3.5 hours of traffic, and I was 5 minutes from my house. And why did I sit for 3.5 hours? Because the entire police force tried to talk this gentleman off the bridge, and they did. And I love that story. And when people say, oh, I was late for this and oh, this happened and all that. And you know what my answer to that has been all week? And I feel so good even saying it to you. Well, thank God we were able to sit for 3.5 hours just to save one life. This day was worth it. This day was worth it. So I feel like these conversations are much the same. We'll never get this hour back. I'm truly grateful for this. I'm excited about what's to come. If you're looking to hire people, I'd love to work with you. If you're looking to be coached, I'd love to do that. That's what I'm here for and I'm excited about.
I love it. I love it. And how can people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can get in touch. I do have a website, www.caribragg.com. And you can also reach me through, please feel free to talk to me on email. That's hello@caribragg.com. I am on Instagram and I am on LinkedIn, of course, and I'm here. I'm out here. I love to communicate. I love to talk. Please reach out. And I hope we're going to do this again. I like the energy. I like what goes on here. We're flowing. We don't have a new pair of shoes in our hands, but we're flowing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you so much, Cari. Okay, I just started this. Okay, two things I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions because we have a few minutes. But before that, is there any question that you wish I would have asked you that you didn't have an opportunity to talk about?
No, I feel like I don't wish for things in life the way many do. I like the way it happened naturally. You know why? Because I don't want to have expectations. It's one of my biggest lessons in life. The minute I expect, I'm disappointed. So I'm not disappointed. I'm actually pleasantly and delightfully charmed by this whole hour. So no, you did a fabulous job and I'm delighted to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, a few rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yep.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee. Come on. Tea after 4.
Early bird or night owl?
Well, that depends on the day. So I would say early bird. Used to be night bird, but early bird could be an age thing, but who knows? I'm only 29. Come on now.
Love it. I mean, I'm 55. I own every year.
Yeah, love it.
Dream vacation spot?
Dream vacation spot. Wow. A cabin in the woods.
Oh, nice
Yes.
then.
Yes. And if it's not a cabin in the woods, I see it every day. There's mountains and there's water and there's fresh air and all that beauty. If not that, stick me in the middle of Paris and France and I'll be a happy little clam.
I love it. All right, last one. One word to describe this season of your life.
Certainty. Certainty. Certainty.
All right.
Certainty.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Cari, for hanging out with us today. It was a really fun conversation. I love where it took us, and I hope that anybody and everybody watching got something from it. And we'll definitely have to do it again. It was super fun.
Can't wait. I would love to do that, Lisa. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, everybody, have a fabulous day. Enjoy your Monday, and we'll see you again next week. Same time, same place on The Bold Leap. Have a great day.
Thank you.